correction of 3, so that's a total of 8. Subtract 7 leaves 1. It was a Sunday.
Absolutely correct. But let's compare him with David Kidd. The 17th of December, 1974.
It was a Tuesday.
17 has a correction 3. December has a correction 6. That's 9. That leaves 2. 1974 is 1. That's 3. Tuesday.
The 3rd of June, 1989.
Is this going to stop sometime?
It will be a Saturday.
3. June is 5. That's 8. That's 1. 1989 is 6 and 7. Saturday.
So we gave Dr. Yallop an extra advantage by allowing him to program the calculations into a pocket computer. Could he beat David now? The 28th of February, 1962.
It was a Wednesday.
Of February. Wednesday.
The 15th of March, 1996.
It will be a Friday.
6. Friday.
The 26th of January, 1928.
1928. Thursday.
It was a Thursday.
I couldn't do it that quickly, and if anyone can do it in their head that quickly, they're pretty good. Hello there, David. I'm from the Royal Greenwich Observatory, and I've come to ask you some questions about the calendar, which I believe you're very clever at working out. I'm curious to know how you do this, so I shall be asking you some questions, hoping to find out perhaps how you do it.
Dr. Yallop wanted to discover what system he was using, mathematics or memory.
Can you tell me what 8 add on 7 is? If you take 8 and add 7 to it.
It will make 14.
8 and 7's 14.
It is.
Okay, it's not. You don't think it's 15?
Obviously, David wasn't using any mathematical method.
In what months in 1983 does the 22nd of the month fall on a Tuesday?
It will be February, March, and November.
Right. Okay. In what years was September the 30th a Saturday? Can you tell me that?
1978, 1972, 1967.
Can you give me any more years?
For Dr. Yallop, the fact that David could get the right answer, whichever way round the questions were put, was significant.
Yes.
1944. 1939, 1933.
Right.
It meant David had to be using a kind of storage system, similar to the Herschel diagram. But if David was using it, he would know, for example, that the calendar repeats itself every 28 years. Take Tuesday, July 29th, 1902. It was the same day 28 years later and 28 years after that. It's a simple principle, but had David ever discovered it?
What is special about 28 years? Is there anything important about 28 years?
Isn't.
There isn't?
No.
No. Okay.
Dr. Yallop was flummoxed.
I don't know what system he's using. All I do know is that he's not using arithmetic. He's not doing any mental calculations. He's obviously stored the information in his head, and he can recall it very rapidly.
But how much is he memorizing? The theoretical minimum must be the Herschel diagram.
If you add up all the figures in there, that's roughly how much you've got to remember. But to be able to use that table quickly, you've really got to repeat the pattern at least 7 times. So it's 7 times that Herschel diagram. If you could remember that lot in your mind, a 2-dimensional diagram, and look it up, that's about how much work that he's doing. But he's got it stored away, locked away, and knows how to recall it. His mind's just like a computer, really.
But the mind that can manipulate hundreds of pieces of complex data struggles over arithmetic for 7-year-olds. And IQ tests show David's memory is equally poor. It's a real puzzle, compounded by the fact that David isn't the only mentally handicapped calendar calculator. But the psychologists do have some tentative conclusions. Dr. O'Connor.
They're operating on something that they've acquired in the way that you and I acquire language. We acquire our first language in an unconscious way, so that if we were to ask ourselves what are the rules of grammar in English, we probably wouldn't know them as well as we'd know the rules of grammar in a foreign language which we learnt. And these people are like that with dates. They haven't got access necessarily to the principles so that they could announce them verbally, but they nonetheless do operate them just in the same way as we speak English correctly without actually knowing how we do it.
Jimmy Crackcorn and I don't care. Jimmy Crackcorn and I don't care. Jimmy Crackcorn.
Just as much a mystery is the extraordinary talent of 11-year-old Stephen Wiltshire. At first sight, just another pupil at a special school for children with serious communication and learning problems. During school trips round London, Stephen, despite an IQ of 60 and a nervous tic of unknown cause, has developed an obsession for buildings.
Look at the church. That's the Royal Lancaster Hotel. The Royal Lancaster Hotel.
What has amazed his teachers and classmates is that not only does he recognise virtually every London building, he draws them as well. This is Stephen's pencil sketch of the Natural History Museum done at the age of 10.
The Royal Albert Hall.
They keep horses there.
In fact, he has drawn most of London's famous buildings. Astonishingly, some have even been done from memory. Last summer, we arranged to take Stephen to a building he had never seen before. London's most elaborate piece of Victoriana, St. Pancras Station. We wanted to test his memory, so we didn't allow him to make any notes, just simple observation.
What about up this end, where it's curved? You see how it curves around there?
Curved around that building.
That's right.
Lots of windows.
Lots of
All
windows.
the balconies.
The balconies, do you remember that, will you?
Yeah.
All right.
He spent 15 minutes in front of the building. Back at school, 2 hours later, he started to draw. Though he'd not appeared to study it, he decided to draw the clock tower. While his classmates' renditions of St. Pancras were what you'd expect from children with a mental age of 6, Stephen's own mental handicaps were clearly no drawback. Although he wields his pencil like a 6-year-old, what flows from it has mature, self-confident artistry. Within an hour, the picture is complete. An astonishingly detailed drawing, done entirely from memory. But just how accurate is it? Well, compared to the actual building, he's drawn it round the wrong way. But apart from that, the dormer windows, chimneys, and the tower are pretty accurate. His tower does have too many windows, but they exactly match the style of the windows on the rest of the building. Beyond the building itself, he's accurately put in the post office tower, and even noticed a crane behind the station. We introduced Stephen to Sir Hugh Casson, one-time president of the Royal Academy, artist and architect. Forget Stephen's handicap. How good is he?
He is a wonderful natural draftsman. I mean, really spectacularly good. What interests me as an architect is several things. First, he's not afraid of complication. The Victorians never left anything alone, as you know. And everything was carved and detailed within an inch of its life. He's not frightened by that. Most children would give up after all these little details. Next thing, I think, is brought out best in this drawing of the Albert Hall, which is his powers of perspective. Now, drawing a big circular building is extremely difficult, and his sense of perspective, it seems to me, faultless. The way this thing actually is round and solid like a vast great bun, he's achieved it, plus his love of detail. The most extraordinary one of all, I think, is this one. You see, you have here a very simple, rather boring block of offices by the Thames. Now, this is a line drawing with no shadow in it. In order to get solidity, most artists resolve this problem by putting on shadows so you can see the forms. He has scorned this. He just does it by line. And the subtlety of angle, you see, he's got to get into this line drawing, which is pure line, the fact the thing is solid. And the only weapon you've got to get that solidity in is by the skill of your perspective. You find it very remarkable to find anybody in your office as an architect drawing as well as that. I've never seen, I think in all my competition drawing and up to, I've never seen such talent, such natural and extraordinary talent as this child seems to have. And it's a great blessing for him, with his disabilities, to have this talent, and I hope he knows he's got it.
So, the puzzle. A mentally handicapped boy is possibly the best child artist in Britain. A mentally handicapped man can calculate the calendar faster than a computer, and yet another has an astonishing memory for music. At present, the foolish wise ones have the experts baffled, although the scientists seem to feel there's a small clue in one common thread.
One of the features is a certain obsessionality, a preoccupation, if you like, with one topic, such as calendrical calculating, music, drawing, whatever it is. And this obsessionality may be part of what one tends to use, term one tends to use to describe genius.
We think we have some ideas of what this might be about, but of course we are very far from explaining it. But then one is very far from explaining the talent of Picasso or Shakespeare. How does one explain that?